Christians, my last post on Romans 3, verse 25, in this series anyway. Paul says, whom God has set forth to be a propitiation through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past through the forbearance of God. Now, when we come to the word remission, remission is really a different word. Actually, I should say there's a better word that should be used to translate this Greek word. Even though the King James Version has remission, the better word is really pretermission. Pretermission. And pretermission means that God looked over sins intentionally. He passed over, looking over sins that were past intentionally, but in anticipation of providing a propitiation, which would be Christ, for all those who sinned before the coming of Christ. And this was done by God's forbearance. And God's forbearance means the word carries with it the connotation self-restraint or tolerance. In other words, the sins that were all committed under the old covenant prior to the coming of Christ, God dealt with them with self-restraint and tolerance because they deserved wrath, but God had provided and made plain by the sending of Christ Jesus to be a propitiation, not just for those who were alive when Christ came, not just for those of us who have believed since Christ came, but God was also patient and tolerant and holding self-restraint against those who deserved wrath prior to the coming of Christ. But God exercised that restraint and patience and tolerance, holding off the wrath due to the old covenant saints, because he knew what he would do in sending Christ. And what did he do? It says that he set forth Christ to be a propitiation. He made manifest, he made plain that by the death of Christ, the saints of the old covenant were also covered by his blood.